Hey guys! So today, I know I look a little, I know it's been a while. I will eventually make a video if I feel like it is necessary. I know I look a lot different, but hi, hello, it's me, Natalie. I hope you're doing great. I hope you like the new set, the new scenery. I've moved again. College life. But today I am doing a video. Since today is the first day of fall, technically, I wanted to start Spooktober. But today I've decided to do a Halloween video like I did last year with doing doing Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, and those type of videos. I'm continuing that, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit next video, so you'll see what the change is gonna be. But today we're gonna do something pretty basic. Actually, I'm gonna be changing myself into Emily from The Corpse Bride. I will be doing something different than I did last year, which I think is actually a lot of fun. First off, I already started. I decided to block my brows because I'm not the best at it. So I wanted to just block them so that by the time I start, it doesn't take 1,000 years for me blocking, because I noticed that was kind of repetitive in my videos last year. So that is what I've already done. I'm also going to be listening to stuff because I live with people now, so I'm not by myself. So I'm going to be listening to something through my laptop, and my laptop is set up with an image of Emily so that I can do her look. I'm wearing a top, so don't worry. Because I want to get my chest done, because she's like a really cool collarbone detail that I kind of want to try. Or I'm just going to do, you know, like the slimming of the neck and all that, like I did with Sally. Well, enough rambling. Let's get into the video. Hello, Natalie from the future. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer that there are some words and some graphics that are not appropriate for some viewers, and some viewers may not appreciate or want to hear. So I would consider skipping this video, or if you hear a disclaimer in the middle of the video, to stop watching. Also, there are a lot of spoiler alerts, so this is your warning that there are spoiler alerts for the movie Corpse Bride. If you don't care or have seen Corpse Bride, then I hope you like this video. Okay, let's continue with the video. Actually, talk about the movies and their backgrounds and stuff. I know I kind of touched on them with like Nightmare Before Christmas and Beetlejuice, talking about the movies and stuff, like their background story and all that stuff. I never talked about background story, but I explained the movie to you all. Yes? Yes. So like I said, I blocked my brows specifically because I didn't want to like be really repetitive, because I've already done it and there's many videos on how you can block your brows and do a lot better than I do. But anyways, I'm taking a brush like this and some white grease paint just because I'm going to eventually go to this blue. But I'm gonna use the blue more as like a contour, or I'll mix it more with the white with another like powder shade like I did in my pumpkin video. I know, talking a lot about it in different videos, but anyways. So, basically, if you are not aware, The Corpse Bride was one of Tim Burton's best-selling movies or breaks after The Nightmare Before Christmas. And if you don't know what The Nightmare Before Christmas is, are you living under a rock during Halloween? I'm just kidding. But basically, The Nightmare Before Christmas I already talked about in my Sally video, and I also believe my Jack Skellington video, but I did go into more depth in my Sally video because it was a longer video because it's a lot more work than Jack was, because Jack's just the white and black, and Sally I had to like powder and all that stuff. Anyways, carrying on. So for The Corpse Bride, the premise of the movie is that a character named Victor, he is being set up he's betrothed to a family to marry Victoria. Now, back in this time when this is all set, it was very common for people to be betrothed to each other. Meaning that they were forced to get married because of their family had no money, or a family that was more wealthy would marry a family that was wealthy at one point and was not as wealthy anymore due to certain situations. In this instance, Victor's family was more wealthy than Victoria's family, so it was imperative that Victoria's family wedded her to someone that had money, or family had a lot of money, so that later on they could still be wealthy. Now, even though no one knew that Victoria's family wasn't wealthy anymore, that had to be hush-hush, because otherwise baby Victor's parents wouldn't want him to marry someone like Victoria. So Victor is seen as more of a quiet person. He does a lot of not art, but he has an obsession with butterflies and drawing them and learning about these insects. And he's just more delicate. He plays the piano, he's good at music, all over, pretty good guy. But he's more shy, and his family's more shy than Victoria's family. But Victoria's this gorgeous girl, beautiful. And she's very nice and soft, like Victor. So they end up actually working out pretty well. But when practicing their vows, Victor gets very frantic, I guess I would say, because he's very nervous, because he wants to make a good impression on Victoria, because he actually likes her. He didn't think he'd actually like her, but he actually loves her. Yeah. So he is very nervous when practicing his vows and stuff. He doesn't remember his vows, and I know this is a very, very iconic scene. So Victor runs off and in the woods, and he recites it beautifully. He recites his vows perfectly. With this ring, I love thee, my wife. With this candle, I'll light your way through darkness. Basically, those are his vows, and that's a very iconic thing, people knowing his vows because of this. Now, basically, he does his vows beautifully, and the ring that he uses is actually the ring he's supposed to give to Victoria for the wedding. So he does the vows perfect, whatever, and all of us, he puts it on what he thought was a root, like the root of a tree coming out of the ground. He puts it on there. Well, all of a sudden, out from the ground comes this bride, a corpse bride. Wow. So as the movie continues, you find out that Emily, the corpse bride, thinks that Victor actually was proposing to her. She didn't realize that he was just practicing his vows and didn't even know that she wasn't there, basically. And you find out the story of Corpse's bride, or Emily's story. Now, Emily is one of my favorite characters of Tim Burton's. I honestly don't really care for Sally. I like Jack more than anything of Nightmare Before Christmas because I think his music and everything is just beautiful. There is some music in this, and it's a really good film. There's a lot of good actors and actresses. Emily is played by Ellen Bonham Carter, and Johnny Depp actually is the voice of Victor. And it's the same animation, clay animation, as they do for Nightmare Before Christmas. And that is going to be your point of reference because the same colors that were used specifically for Nightmare Before Christmas were also used in this film. So I am specifying that, and also because I already did a video explaining the Nightmare Before Christmas, I feel like it'll be a lot easier reference. But basically I'm trying to get the whole story in right now, so that way when I continue on doing more detail, I don't have to speak as much, and it will get us into how this whole story was created. I think I'm gonna go right about here is gonna be my line that I'm finished with. Wow, that feels so ugly. It looks ugly, but we're not going to care right now. We're just gonna blendy, blendy, blend. Okay, so continuing on with the story of the Corpse Bride. So we find out in the song The Corpse Bride in the film by Tim Burton that Emily wanted to get married really badly, and she thought that she found the love of her life. Well, her dad didn't want her to get married to this person because he felt that he was only marrying her for the wrong reasons, not because he actually loved her, and not the same reasons that Emily believed. So she's really distraught, and she tells the guy that she loves that she wants to run away with him. Well, they decide to make a plan that they were going to get married under a tree in the middle of winter. Important. This is important to the coloring as well. So, when this is all going on, sorry, I really don't like how not white I look. So as this is all going on, like continuing, the story continues and all this stuff. Well, the guy that she loved and thought that loved her tells her to get in her mother's wedding dress and bring the most expensive jewelry, because after they get married under the tree, they're going to run away and use the jewels for money. You see, Emily was part of a wealthy family. This is important. Well, the guy that Emily wanted to run away with actually poisoned her and took the jewels and left her to die. And she did die. And she's blue because it was winter, so she got hypothermia. I know, a little gruesome, sorry. But explaining, because the cool thing about Corpse Bride, and that they didn't do in Nightmare Before Christmas, is it was specified in the land of the living in Corpse Bride. Obviously they all look alive in the land of the dead, excuse me. They all are specified how they died. So Emily was poisoned and then hypothermia, so she's blue. Bleh. But I proceed. So this is all told in the beginning to Victor, because she brings Victor to the land of the dead so that they can actually get married. Crazy. Well, as the story goes on, I know I'm spoiler alerting you. I'm gonna spoiler alert now. So if you haven't seen Corpse Bride and you wanna watch it, go now. Go and come back, and then getting so flustered, I just threw a brush because no one has seen it. Anyways, so because this is the spoiler alert, because I'm not gonna go through the whole movie, I'm just gonna give you the basic rough edges of it. Victor eventually decides that he's going to no longer be part of the land of the living, and he's going to marry Emily, and they're going to live forever in the land of the dead. So the Corpse Bride actually is getting to live out her fantasy of getting married. Wonderful, fantastic. As they're heading to get married, or let me backtrack. After Victor goes missing, a guy shows up and he is enthralled in Victoria, enthusiastically excited to get married to Victoria because Victor's not there, and you find out that this guy is basically a gold digger. Not basically, he is a gold digger. He wants to marry Victoria for her money, her family's money. However, like we mentioned in the beginning, or how I mentioned in the beginning, her family doesn't have money. That was the reason they were marrying Victor's family, she was marrying Victor. So, but this person didn't know that, and he was seen, or he was also very well polished, he dressed very nicely, so he was expected to have a lot of money also. And he had like a name that, like, I want to say like a duke, but it wasn't that, but like he had like a high name, like, you know, the queen's a queen, the duke is a duke, like they have money obviously. Well, he had like something like that that like defined him as like being wealthy, but he wasn't. So you find out later on that this guy actually was the person that killed Emily, and so you find out that he's the one that killed Emily and took all her money and took her dreams of being a bride. Really sad, really unfortunate. But so that's how this Emily eventually, you know, things occur. But that's all I'm going to talk about, because then this is going to refer us to how the corpse bride became to be. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to let this dry, set, and do more white, and hopefully I'll be more white or blue or some type of color, and we'll continue. Okay, be right back. But basically, I'm taking this blue grease paint, and because it's so dark, that's why I started with the white grease paint to like blend it to be lighter, because Emily is actually kind of like more of an aqua light blue than Sally was very dark. So, and that's because Sally's a doll and Emily is a corpse, hence the name Corpse the Bride. Again, I know this looks really not even or blended, but that is okay, because we're getting there. We're eventually gonna get there. So, now that I've told you the basis or the premise of Corpse Bride, now it's time to get into the juicy stuff. How Corpse Bride actually came to be. And again, I know my eyes look really bad, but I promise that will be explained because they have really big eyes. Like, it's legitimately like Sally, only lighter color, and it's not a doll. She's actually, sorry. But, so, I'm gonna take this out because I'm not listening to anything right now. So, Corpse Bride is said to be based in the 1900s. You know, not, okay, anyways. So, after The Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton did not have very many movies, I believe, that were a hit after The Nightmare Before Christmas, before, of course, Coraline and all those movies. So this was like his next big hit. So after Nightmare Before Christmas, it was 12 whole years after Tim Burton did The Nightmare Before Christmas. So it was a lot quicker to develop this movie than it was for The Nightmare Before Christmas. So it was seen as a lot better from a movie standpoint on how it was directed and filmed and created. So it is said that it was based to be more drab in the living. So like you'll see like at the beginning of the movie, it's very, very dark. Like everyone seems upset. There's no color. Well, there's color, but it's more like mauve and like grays and stuff. So it's not as like beautiful and vibrant until you get to the Land of the Dead, when it's gorgeous popping colors. That's why like Emily is like blue. Again, a lot more background, but I guess I should say viewer's discretion is advised. We're gonna So basically what I did is I mixed the white grease was on my body, and then I added this dark blue because Sally is a lot darker, so I used this to create Emily. But I mixed some actual white paint to see, so you guys can actually see the color. So that's like what you're kind of looking for. And I know there's like dark places and lighter places, that's okay. This is just a base, we're getting there. The powder will add a lot more depth and color that I can't produce with the paint I have right now, unfortunately. So, and there'll be a lot more detail. This is not even the detail I have. So, this is a disclaimer, because after reading this, it was kind of very gruesome. And so, we are more of a kids channel, but because it's Halloween, I want to do more factual with the characters I do. I want to look more into it because I find it very interesting knowing like who I'm doing and how they come up with this idea. Well, so it was said that the corpse bride, or Tim Burton, got this idea because in the early 19th century, Russia was anti-Semitism, which was very widespread in Eastern Europe. And because the bride would be the one to bear the future generations, like she was the one that would produce, again, viewer discretion is advised, this is very graphic, but they basically would, after a wedding took place in Europe, specifically in Russia in the 19th century, they would kill the bride in her wedding dress so that the bride could not produce children to continue a certain culture in Russia. I know, crazy. And that is how supposedly how Tim Burton came up with the story of the corpse bride, which is very interesting because, like, if you think about it, like the story of Sleepy Hollow and stuff is also very European, very dark and blah, but those are based off stories or what supposedly occurred. Now, the corpse bride and obviously Nightmare Before Christmas are not based off like these type of gruesome stories, but I found it very interesting that this one was supposedly like, well, not supposedly, it was a very dark background, and how it is more of like a lighthearted, it's not as dark as like one of the like Tim Burton's like darkest films, which I believe is Coraline, which is really creepy. Don't like Coraline, you'll never see me probably doing any Coraline on this channel because I really don't like it. It really scares me and So, that being said, I'm gonna set my face. We're gonna take a minute. I'm gonna powder anything I can, and then we're gonna continue with the rest. Okay, I know I look a lot different. I'm a whole different type of green, blue. I'm a whole different type of color plus powder. So, basically I've decided to do the whole body situation, like the painting and stuff, with just the neck because there's more of it and it's a little bit easier to follow, and it'll give me more time to talk about corpse bride. So instead of doing the test like I wanted to do, I found 12 cool facts about the corpse bride. So basically the whole concept of the corpse bride is to talk about life, death, and devotion. So it is based on the old Jewish folktale that I told you about. The first fact is basically explaining like what I already explained about like how in Europe at this time they were trying to remove a certain type of belief that people in Europe just didn't believe in at the time, unfortunately. During this time, during the time of making and producing the corpse bride, Tim Burton decided to use the same cast from the corpse bride also in his new film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If you didn't know, Johnny Depp is in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not to be confused. Tim Burton created a film called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which also had Ellen Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp, with Johnny Depp being Willy Wonka and Ellen Bonham Carter being Charlie's mom. But at the same time that they were filming Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they also both were creating with Tim Burton the corpse bride, which I was not aware of. Because I honestly thought that this was created a long time before, because I feel like this came out when I was young, Corpse Bride, because I remember watching it like as a little kid, like always watching it for, you know, Halloween. Oh, and so you know, I'm taking this color in my NYX Ultimate Professional Makeup Shadow Palette. This one right here. It's a teal color, and like I said, if you look up a photo of Emily, which I will definitely put up a photo of Emily afterwards so that you can see what color she is. I just didn't have this color, and honestly, I didn't want to buy a bunch of new makeup because I figured out last year with the grease paint, honestly, I can just take the white grease paint and add any color I want on top of it with powder. So, and I purposely bought this NYX Ultimate palette just for like doing this type of makeup because it's really cheap, I'm not gonna lie, and it's really nice. Like, I mean, look at this pigmentation. I'm a whole nother color within just a few dip dab tubes. So, if you were not aware, I did explain this in my, I believe either Jack or Sally, but most likely Sally one, that the person that wrote the music for Nightmare Before Christmas is Danny Elfman, who works with Tim Burton a lot. He wrote most of Tim Burton's, if not all, but I'm definitely gonna stick with most. Wrote most of Tim Burton's music. And definitely one of his, you know, most known music was for The Nightmare Before Christmas. However, he also wrote the music for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Corpse Bride, which we now know was at the same time. So it is said that Danny Elfman actually took a full year shuttling back and forth between 2 different film sets to create the music that we now know and love for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and for The Corpse Bride. Focus on making sure that I don't look greasy anymore, like really setting this. We don't want to be greasy anymore. No, no, no. Grease is not it for this look. We gotta look dry and desiccated. So after the first Alice in Wonderland, as again, if you did not, Helen Bonham Carter was the Red Queen or the Queen of Hearts in the live action Alice in Wonderland that was done by Disney, and I believe also Tim Burton was the one that filmed it, or directed it, I'm sorry. Directed film, all the same to me in my brain. Anyways. So, it's supposed to be translucent powder, and it is not. We are gonna get through this together. I know I don't look as vibrant anymore, but honestly it's okay because I really just want this set, and now I'm gonna add more details like highlights and all that stuff. And of course, her huge eyes and her stuff. Okay, so before I get to the eyes, because I kind of have to focus. So after doing Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp, Helen Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp would then do the film Dark Shadows, which you don't know is a phenomenal movie. Also, it's based on a show that was like really popular. It was like a soap opera that they remade into a film with Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter and Chloe Kirsten. That's a lot of good, phenomenal actors and actresses. And then next that they would do would be Lone Ranger and then Alice Through the Looking Glass. So a fun fact about Helen Bonham Carter and the reason that she's in so many Tim Burton films is that she used to be married to Tim Burton until they ended up getting a divorce and no longer together, but he still believes that she's such a phenomenal actress that he puts her in most of his movies. So that's why she's in a lot of them, like in the beginning. That's why she's, I believe, Emily and stuff, obviously because she is a phenomenal actress, but more of the reason was because they were married. She's not in as many Tim Burton films now, like she wasn't in Coraline or like, you know, most of those films, but this is why it is believed why Helen Bonham Carter, not believed, this is most likely why she's in so many Tim Burton films. I need to just sketch out an area. So her eyes are like huge and then her eyebrows would be like there, so. I know this seems kind of odd or whatever, but I have to get this sketch for something that I'm doing in about 5 seconds, but we're gonna... So I know the eye's a lot smaller than this eye, but I'm adding a lot more effects, like I'm adding eyeshadow and stuff, so it will eventually make sense. I know it doesn't look like it will right now, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm not just messing around. We're actually gonna do some fun things with the eye. Let it dry for a few seconds and we'll set along while this is going on. So basically what I did, or I'm doing, is I'm taking black paint and I'm just going around the circle that I drew with the black, and I'm going to make a hole, because in the movie Corpse Bride, Emily's eye pops out a lot and her best friends are bugs because she lives in the ground. And so what I'm trying to create is the effect that her eye just rolled out, and her friend, I believe, is a maggot, but he's green like a caterpillar, so I don't know. But he's a very vibrant green, and my goal is to create him coming out of the eye, so he'll be like kind of right here, and on the other side I'm gonna have like stuff is going. Don't worry, it'll make sense. But as I'm tapping away, no, I'm gonna wait till I contour and then I'll do all that. So while this is setting and drying and cooling and airing, what I want to do is I want to contour and such. Yeah, I'm gonna take this color from my Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe, and I'm gonna take it and I'm going to take it on this brush. I want it very concentrated because she's very like sharp edges, so I'm gonna just take it and use this as my contour shade. Look, very harsh line, however, it will make sense, I promise. Obviously, I'm also gonna do the same with the temples, but not as like defined. Well, I guess, yeah. Now the nose is very interesting, and the reason I'm contouring first before, hold on, we're gonna get underneath, and I'm just using the same brush for everything because her like detailing is so precise. Like with Sally, she was more of a circular face, while with Emily, she has more of symmetry with her face, with it being very sharp point and down. So the contour has to be a little bit better and more intense than with I did Sally. Which is why we're going with a finer brush, rather like a finer fluffy brush, rather than just using a regular like a normal brush I would use for contour. And I'm making it a lot more defined, obviously, with her cheekbones, just because they're so in. And you'll find this a lot, like if you do skeleton makeup, it is more of like a down, like a out and down kind of motion to really get those cheekbones like up. Now I'm not too worried about like making it circular or whatever, because she has kind of, I think I did this with another character that I did before, but Tim Burton, with a lot of his like dead characters, he made triangles. So I'm not really worried about making my nose look like it's a circle. I'm more worried about making it look symmetrical with the contour and that it looks really skinny. That's the whole goal, is that it looks super, super small. And like I said, the goal is to make it look very harsh, so if it looks very harsh, it's okay. Now I'm going with the same brush that I used for the black on my eye. I'm just gonna make a little triangle. Wow, that is a very vibrant nostril. And now that this is also done, I'm going to kind of carve like an area where she is missing. A part of her cheek. Just a rough area, so I'm not like making it too perfect, because it's not perfect, obviously. Her skin is like deteriorating. And you're not gonna want to fill it all the way in, because she has some teeth showing, obviously. So how I'm going to do the teeth part is I'm taking this brush, which I usually use to outline like eyes and stuff with concealer. I'm going to use my white concealer, and I'm going to line the brush like this, just at the tip, and I'm going to place where I want the teeth and drag up. And it doesn't have to look perfect. Like, I know my teeth are kind of big also, like how I made them, but that's okay. Because honestly, I just wanted the general shape of it. Wasn't too worried about anything else. So I'm taking this liner, because it has like a really fine tip, obviously, and it's black, and I'm going to just outline the teeth. And then going back in with the black. So that's what it looks like. Obviously there should be some more teeth there, but like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I got a few in there, so you'll know that it's definitely Emily, like if you continue on. Anyways, so now that I've gotten that done, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a little bit more concealer to the eye rather than the white paint, because it seems to be cracking the white paint, and I just am going to set it right after I do this. But before we do that, I'm going to take the same brush that I used to contour, and I'm actually going to use it as the eyeshadow. I'm gonna use this brush as our eyeshadow because Emily has really dark like eyeshadow that kind of looks like my eyebrow, which is perfect because I'm covering that with the blue color that I want. So see this color? I'm gonna be mixing these two blue colors on the same brush, and you don't really have to clean it because it's honestly, it's fine. And we're just going to sweep it back and forth and pat. This matches her hair that she has, so it's all gonna look phenomenal. So this is gonna use as her friend, but right now I wanna do her eye. And I'm going to start with this color, and then I'm gonna deepen it with this color. Yes. Just kidding, I'm gonna start with this color and then deepen it to that one. And I'm not using an eyebrow brush, because mine's very nice and I don't want it to get ruined. I used to like do her eyeshadow, and I'm gonna use it and just dab a dark spot right there, like right above her eyebrow, my left eyebrow, because she has some bruising up here on her head. This my angled brush, and I'm gonna take the bottom of it and just dip it into the dark blue. Just go do the dark blue. Then I'm gonna take the bottom of the brush and just tap it so that it's not just a bunch of single dots. But to give the same color, like more dotted effect, this is what I'm gonna do, because it looks more like dots on her bruise in the photo that I'm looking at. Okay. Now that we learned how many, this is just a quick fact because I did think it was really cool that they actually use gears to move the heads because they're puppets and claymation. So I'm legitimately gonna take the bottom of this brush like I just did for the dots on the head, and I'm just gonna create some dots. And I'll eventually make them bigger, and they're gonna curve up like he's moving. I'm using this green paint, like I said before, like showed you before. Now her best friend is actually a black widow spider, and her little green maggot friend, which I never find out his name, but it's cute. And the reason, like I said, I curved it up is he's usually up here, but because I just didn't have enough room for him, I'm making it more like he's crawling on her face rather than just hanging there. Okay, now I'm gonna take this light green color I have here, and we're gonna dip it just to color him a bit more. Because he's not like a dark green, he's more of like a yellowish green. And this will give that effect. I'm not going to put in as much detail as they have for him just because it's a lot. And I've already gone over like an hour and this is just me working on the eyes and such. Now instead of going like in a circular motion like I've done with the angle brush, I'm going to start going like into connecting the circles because they weren't connected before. But I'm going to just use it rather than using the paint. I'm just going to take my colors, or my the colors that I have in my palette that I've been using to color the maggot. I'm going to dab it to connect the circles with the powder rather than the paint, so that it'll be easy. I'll take this eyeliner that I've been using and I'm going to use it to do her eyeliner. So she has one. But basically all I have done is my lips and I'm finishing this mascara, and then I think I'm actually done and you can get the close-up and the weird music part. Perfect, but you know, this is how the vibe kind of is, so I'm okay with it. And now I'm just gonna take a dot and I'm going to find one more cool fact and then we'll get on with our day. I found our last fact. Okay. And I am, hold on. I am overlining just because she has very big lips, so that's why it looks a little bit more. Just so, if you're wondering. So our last fact as I do this, actually I have two cool facts, just cause. So, Corpse Bride was the first stop motion movie to be shot digitally, which I find pretty cool. And then the last cool fact is that, so remember how I mentioned there was a girl, Victoria, that Victor was supposed to marry, and she's like actually in the living world, and that's how like this whole situation occurred, was Victor was trying to learn his vows to marry Victoria. Well, the only people that actually sing in this film is Ellen and Bob Carter, and the people in the who are undead. They're the only people that sing this whole film. Danny Elfman, however, did write a song just for Victoria, but it was ended up being cut. I don't know why. But I thought that was pretty interesting, because I do think it was a good decision though, because then it made it seem like only the dead could sing, because they were actually happy and joyous, while everyone else in the living were not, showing the gloom and despair and sadness. Actually, that's a lie. They do sing in the beginning, like their song that everybody must be perfect, blah, blah, perfect, blah. But I know I didn't do a lot here, but I guess I could like contour heckity quick. Now know, this is the end of the video. This is the end of the look. I know you just saw the cute part. This is the up close and personal where it's a little, but you know, again, wasn't too upset about it because it actually looks pretty good. I mean, I don't do a lot of these, so I wasn't too mad about it. Don't really care for the lip. Couldn't find the lip I wanted, but you know, things occur, things happen. It's all Fiji King dandy and all that. But I hope you like my finished results of me doing Emily. Like I said, for Spooktober, I will be doing a specific genre that starts my next Spooktober. I just kind of wanted to do Emily last year and never got to it, and it just didn't occur, unfortunately. And I do love Tim Burton, like I said, and like I said last year, just a really big deal for me. So I just wanted to do Emily. Hope I did her justice. Hope you guys like it. And I hope you guys like this style of video where I talk more about history and like what goes into the movie and all the background knowledge of it. Because I didn't even know what it was based on, and like learning that was actually pretty interesting to me. It opened my eyes a lot more to like the background and how it is a lot darker than what the film makes it seem. But I hope you love this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to follow us on Instagram at natsoph1317. And I'll be linking Spooktober. I'm hoping to make it a playlist for this year. And hopefully I continue to do this because I really do like Spooktober. I like doing the more dramatic makeup week for October, but we'll see because I have a lot of plans in my brain. Hopefully I can get it out, because I think you guys would really like what's coming up next. So like I said, stay tuned to the continuation of Spooktober. Okay, stay spooky. Bye guys.